The Samsung Galaxy A9 is the brand exercising its engineering might. This is the world's first smartphone with quad cameras on the rear. This phone comes at a time when the world was just warming up to triple camera setups. So is this 4-camera toting Samsung Galaxy A9 any good? You know what, I'm not going to waste any more time and get right down to the review of the phone that I have been using since the day of launch. Hi, I'm Ershad from Mr. Phone. Let's get down to my review of the newly launched Samsung Galaxy A9. Before we move on, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever we put out an awesome new tech video. And you know what, I have a couple of announcements as well. The first one is that we have a giveaway of the Realme U1, a link to which should be in a card here somewhere. And the second one is that Mr. Phone Awards is still going on and we want your vote to pick the user choice winner. So don't forget to vote for your favorite smartphone, a link to which is in the description below. Okay, before I move on to the other aspects of the smartphone, I have to say this, mad respect to Samsung for actually sticking to their guns and not going down the notch route. In this day and age of smartphones with edge-to-edge screen and a notch display, Samsung has managed to stay courageous and buck the trend every single time. The Samsung Galaxy A9, as you can see, doesn't have a notch either. We here at Mr. Phone have been saying hashtag say no to the notch, and I think Samsung is our ally in this matter. The first thing that is striking about the Galaxy A9 is the new gradient color scheme on our lemonade blue color unit. Although the variant that really caught my fancy was the bubblegum pink color. I also like the fact that Samsung bundles a neat transparent TPU case inside the box to show off the color. That said, if you want something more understated, Samsung has a uniquely named caviar black color option for you as well. As for the construction, you get glass on the rear and the front with a metal railing. It is a clean design and inspires confidence in its sturdiness. In fact, I inadvertently dropped the phone once and not so much as a scratch registered on the body. The slightly tapered off rear makes the phone sit in the palm easily, but there is no mistaking that it is a massive phone. So one-handed usage is going to be tough. Also, the rear is a fingerprint magnet, so you might have to keep a cloth handy at all times. I also like how the cameras are all stacked up vertically on the rear. The square-shaped fingerprint scanner is also at the right position. I found the fingerprint scanner to be slightly slow compared to the blazing fast fingerprint scanners on some other competing smartphones. There's also a face unlock option and I found it to be a hit and miss too. The power button and volume rocker are placed on the rear, and in typical Samsung fashion are incredibly tactile. Samsung has also added the Bigsby button on the left for good measure. But there is still no option to reconfigure to a function of your choice. That's a little limiting in my opinion. Still, the Bigsby button is there in case you want to give Bigsby a try, which in all honesty is pretty decent for system level commands like switch on Bluetooth and such. Neither Apple's Siri nor Google's Assistant can achieve this level of system-wide integration of their voice assistants. But I have to say this, Google Assistant is leagues ahead of any other voice assistant at the moment, and Bigsby has a lot of catching up to do. There are a couple of things I like more about the Galaxy A9's design. The clean symmetry at the bottom with the ports and the speaker aligned neatly, and the fact that the SIM card tray accepts 2 nano SIM cards and a separate microSD card are my two favorite design choices. Overall, the Samsung Galaxy A9's design is the well thought out premium affair that we've generally come to expect from Samsung phones. The Samsung Galaxy A9 has a 6.3-inch Full HD Super AMOLED panel that looks great from the get-go. Yes, the Note 9 and the S9's curved screens look slightly better, but the difference is mostly not going to be discernible by the naked eye. In fact, this is one of the best smartphone displays in this price range. From watching Netflix to playing games, I enjoyed the uninterrupted experience because there is no notch. That said, I think Samsung could have shaved slightly more from the bezels to make it even more tempting. But this is fine too, I'm just nitpicking here. The viewing angles are great, there is very little color shift or no color bleeding either, and you can change the color gamut according to your preference from the settings as well. Furthermore, the phone can also get really bright. The only feature missing from this display is the support for HDR, considering the OnePlus 60 and the LG G7 ThinQ come with it. Oh, and before I forget, Samsung has one of the best always-on displays in the industry, and the Galaxy A9 is no different. Although I really liked the panel on the Galaxy A9, I have no complaints as such. The Samsung Galaxy A9 runs on Samsung Experience 9.0 on top of Android 8.0. I would have ideally liked to see Android 9 Pie, but this is what you get. Let me break down what I like and what I don't like about the software on the Galaxy A9. Let's start off with the stuff I like. The fact that the UI has been streamed to work seamlessly and smoothly is great. Agreed, this is not long-term usage, but I am a heavy user generally and I haven't managed to tax the phone yet. Samsung is also now taking your consent before installing first-party apps like Samsung Health and such. This is such a great step forward. I like the fact that you can color code your folders. I also think that Smart Switch is one of the better switcher apps out there. You also have the option for running dual messenger apps. For a dual SIM phone, this is a great feature. There is an easy to invoke one-handed mode that is useful in a phone of this size. But I have a question for you guys. How many actually use this feature on your phones? Do let us know in the comment section below. I really like Samsung's Secure Folder app that lets you protect your personal data from people. I mean, I know a lot of people who want this kind of feature. Now moving on to the stuff that I don't like. I can't for the life of me understand why Samsung pre-installs Facebook on the phone and doesn't let you uninstall it. Also, secondly, there are still a lot of duplicate apps. For example, there is a gallery app and a separate photos app as well. And there are 2 calendar apps. I mean, that's a bit excessive. The Bigsby homepage is still a work in progress. I like what Samsung is trying with Bigsby, but it really needs some concentrated work to be better than Google Assistant, which is more than a couple of steps ahead of all the voice-based assistants out there. Overall, I like the fact that Samsung has actually taken constructive criticism as feedback and toned down the heavy-handed experience of TouchWiz to something like the Experience UI on the Galaxy A9 and the other smartphones that have launched in 2018. Shall we finally talk about the 4 cameras on the Samsung Galaxy A9? I'm not going over the specs, you can check it out from the Mr. Phone app, a link to which should be in a card up top. But what you need to know is that apart from the primary camera, you get a wide-angle camera, a telephoto camera with 2x optical zoom capabilities, and the final one for depth sensing. That's not it. The camera app is also loaded with features. Here are my favorite ones. First, the app has 3 buttons to switch directly between wide, telephoto, and regular modes. I find that pretty intuitive, really. There is a special scene optimizer mode from the more expensive flagship phones that is pretty useful in optimizing shots for specific scenes. For example, the camera can immediately recognize a landscape scenario and change the settings accordingly. My favorite feature of all is the flaw detection feature. It can immediately tell if someone has blinked or not. And a couple of other things as well. All this comes in handy so many times if someone moves in the picture. I noticed in my testing that flaw detection was not very aggressive, but it did work many a times, and that's pretty useful. There's also the super slow motion video recording option, and I'm not a fan of that feature, honestly. Coming to the performance of the cameras, I have a detailed camera comparison of the Galaxy A9 with the OnePlus 60 and the Poco F1 coming soon. Before that, let's quickly take a concise look at my findings. Firstly, the primary camera takes decent pictures in good lighting conditions with surprisingly natural colors. The saturation levels are not too high, unlike Samsung phones I've used in the past. But there is a clear artificial sharpening being employed by the software. The low light performance of the rear camera is not too bad either, but there is a heavy noise reduction at play that softens the details. The dynamic range by default is average at best. However, the HDR mode does an acceptable job of improving it. The telephoto camera takes surprisingly good 2x optical zoom shots with a good amount of details too. The wide-angle camera is a bit of a letdown with far fewer details and a fixed focus. The Galaxy A9 can shoot 4K video without EIS and 1080p videos with stabilization, but the video quality is okay at best. What impressed me was a stupendously good sound recording. Samsung really has an edge with sound recording is what I've noticed. The selfie camera on the front takes good portraits and serviceable selfies, but once again, these are not very detailed. Overall, the camera is perfect for people who want to post pictures to social media or check it out on the phone. Overall, the cameras on the Samsung Galaxy A9 are filled to the brim with features aplenty. If that's what you're craving for, then the Galaxy A9 is the perfect smartphone for you. But if you're craving for more details and a better sensor performance, I think phones like the OnePlus 60 and the LG G7 ThinQ might serve your purpose. The Samsung Galaxy A9 comes with a Snapdragon 660 system on chip and at least 6GB of RAM, with another variant that comes with 8GB of RAM. You also get 128GB of internal storage in both the variants, with the option to extend the storage further using a micro SD card. So storage and RAM wise, you're sorted. No complaints there. However, a lot of you might be thinking the Realme 2 Pro or the Mi A2, which are much cheaper, comes with a Snapdragon 660. So this is a letdown on the Galaxy A9. Well, you're not wrong entirely. Here's the thing though. I have to highlight a certain fact. I ran a regular suite of benchmarks on the Samsung Galaxy A9 and the Snapdragon 660 inside this phone gave me the best numbers that I've achieved on a Snapdragon 660 toting phone yet. For example, I got an Antutu score of 1,40,000 odd, which is better than the Realme 2 Pro's number of 1,31,000. Some say that the Realme 2 Pro has a light version of the Snapdragon 660, but I don't know how much truth is there in that statement. Well, moving on, I also played a couple of games of Pubsey on the Galaxy A9 and ran Gamebench as well. Unfortunately, the default settings are capped at mid-level, so I couldn't push the smooth setting to ultra, which runs the game at 60 FPS. But I got a constant frame of 30 FPS, which is the maximum that the Snapdragon 660 can achieve, with the phone heating up from 34° to 40° in a 20-minute session, which is normal. All that said, the Galaxy A9 is not going to be a powerhouse, but it works as a workhorse. I had no trouble in daily usage as the performance was A grade for that. If you're not a sucker for more power and are okay with playing just casual games, and I know a lot of folks who like that, the Galaxy A9 should work well. I was on an Airtel network and noticed that the phone was rock steady with 4G connection and call quality as well. Also, the phone supports VoLTE on both the SIMs, which is awesome and a most requested for feature. I actually tried this out with 2 Geo SIMs and it works absolutely fine. The Samsung Galaxy A9 is actually a great smartphone for watching videos and listening to music on the go. I tried my one more triple drivers with the Galaxy A9 and the bundled earphones as well. The bundled ones are fine, but the Galaxy A9 could drive my one mores pretty well. I had a fun listening experience from the phone, and all the parameters of sound quality like bass, treble, soundstage, all of that was really good. In fact, with support for aptics out of the box, the Galaxy A9 does a stupendous job with sound quality with wireless earphones as well. The single downward firing speaker on the other hand sounds a little harsh at high volume.
कोई भी फ़ोन के स्क्रीन में ओके नहीं है, 2K होता है।
But I guess with wideband L1 support for watching video streaming in HD quality and a good pair of wireless earphones, the Galaxy A9's big 6.3-inch display can be considered to offer a great multimedia experience. I quite enjoyed a couple of episodes of Chef's Table on the phone. Moving on to the battery, the Samsung Galaxy A9 has a 3800 mAh battery powering its internals. Samsung claims that the phone supports fast charging, but it took me 2 hours and 20 minutes to charge this battery from 0 to 100 using the bundled charger. I don't know if that is fast charging though. And of course, there is no wireless charging. Also, I got an average screen on time of anywhere between 4 hours and 5 hours. This is good enough for a day's worth of usage for most people. It is not great, but it is not bad either. Maybe you can get a better battery life by turning off the always-on display. That should help. So these were my findings after using the Samsung Galaxy A9 for a long period of time. My initial expectations of the Samsung Galaxy A9 being a great camera smartphone were actually thwarted. But if you look past that marketing spiel, the Galaxy A9 is a reliable performer and has great multimedia performance right out of the box as well. You come for one thing and you get completely another. In any case, it's a good phone. That said, if you're buying a phone online, you will get a phone with better performance and better optics as well. You know what, let's just compare a few competitors with the Galaxy A9. Let's start off with the OnePlus 6T. The OnePlus 6T is undoubtedly a great smartphone under Rs 40,000 that offers flagship grade performance in most scenarios. Having said that, the Galaxy A9 offers some tangible benefits over the OnePlus 6T in the form of a better AMOLED panel. And you know what, as a matter of fact, when I was testing the Bullets wireless with the Galaxy A9, it sounded way better than it did with the OnePlus 6T. So there are a couple of advantages that the Galaxy A9 offers over the OnePlus 6T as well. Now coming to the LG G7 ThinQ, the biggest downfall for that smartphone is the software and the battery life, both of which are actually better on the Galaxy A9. So that's why you need to make a choice. Do you want a smartphone with clean software performance and better battery life? Then the Galaxy A9 is the pick for you. The LG G7 ThinQ on the other hand offers better performance and better optics and a good multimedia performance as well. Now coming to the Poco F1, which is obviously a lot of people's choice. The Poco F1 is definitely a cost-effective performer and it offers a lot of performance grunt. Having said that, the Poco F1, like a lot of you guys know, doesn't support wideband L1, which means that it is not gonna play HD streaming videos on the smartphone. That is definitely available on the Galaxy A9. The Galaxy A9 also offers a far better premium build quality and a far better display as well. So you know, these are the calls that you need to make before you buy the Galaxy A9 or the Poco F1. You know what, when I put it all together and be pragmatic, it's all very simple really. The Galaxy A9 is going to be a great option for folks looking for a smartphone under Rs 40,000 in the offline market. Couple that with the stellar brand value and superb after-sales service, the Samsung phone is actually going to sway a lot of opinions with people who want that kind of thing from a smartphone. For everyone else, the OnePlus 60 is just a click away. So that's it from me, Ershad from Mr. Phone. That was my full review of the Samsung Galaxy A9. What do you think about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Ershad signing off. Adios.